Hello everybody, Mr. Mobs here and welcome back to the channel. So today's quite a special day because we're marking the milestone of 500 subscribers. We've recently hit that milestone, so a massive thank you to everyone who's helped get to this stage in the channel. Really do appreciate that. The previous milestone was 250, so we've doubled that. The next milestone is going to be 1,000, so I'm going to look to double the amount of subscribers again. So a massive thank you to everyone who has helped out achieve the goal. If you're watching this and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, then please do to help us out. Like I say in all my videos, I don't get paid for this, I just do it for the love of VR, so all your support is really appreciated. Now for every time we hit a milestone, I like to do something special. So for this 500 subscriber special, I wanted to do, in fact I'm doing two videos. It's for the most visually impressive games that you can get on both standalone and PCVR. So you have one video that concentrates on the standalone titles, another one that concentrates on the PCVR titles. Now what I did is I put together a poll which I put on loads of different Facebook groups I'm on, asking you to vote of what your most visually impressive games were, the ones that you thought were the best. I've put all that information together and I've put in recordings for each of those videos, which will be contained within each of the videos that I post on the channel. So massive thank you again to everyone who's made this one happen. It has taken a while to put together. It's surprising how much work even videos like mine that aren't particularly well edited, they still take a long time to put together. So I'm really pleased to kind of get this far with the channel. Again, thank you ever so much for all your support, and I hope you enjoy the video and carry on watching. Thank you, bye bye. In no particular order here, the first game on the list is called Adrift. I recently picked this game up off of a few recommendations from you guys in the comments. This game is a kind of a space exploration game. You wake up and you've been in some kind of like space accident, and so you've got to kind of find your way through. So it's like a space survival, I guess. It's quite cool. It's all the kind of anti-gravity thing. If anyone's played Lone Echo, it's a very similar sort of style to that, I guess. It was released quite a few years ago now. It's back in 2016, so it's quite an old game. It is available on flat screen as well as VR, so it's not just VR exclusive, but it does lend itself really well in VR. You do have to use a controller. You can't use motion controls, so I'd say that's probably a bit of a downside. I think it's probably originally designed for flat screen rather than VR, but I might be wrong there. Either way, it does work really well. Graphically, it's very pleasing. There's lots of nice textures there, and as you can see, and it's something special about kind of being in space, I guess, and looking down at like Earth and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely worth a mention in this list, and thank you very much for whoever recommended it to me.
PAN 4 Personal Data Device version 4.7 acquired. Multiple personal data devices detected and online. Location coordinates unknown.
Okay, so number 2 is Bootstrap Island. This game is probably one of the more recent games to be released on the list. I bought it on early access and I played through a few times. At the time there was a few bugs, to be honest. It wasn't perfect, but I know they were doing really well in the Discord to respond to people's reviews in any kind of bug reports and stuff like that, so really responsive developers there. The game itself looks beautiful. There's some really nice kind of pleasing visuals there, especially the lighting effects. Basically you're stranded on an island and you've got to kind of work your way through. So, again, another survival game. You've got to light a fire at night time to stop yourself from being attacked from the kind of creepy crawlies that live on the island. And like I say, the lighting effects there with the fire is really good, and also the sun. So when the sun kind of sets and the different, as you can see in this video, you see some really nice kind of shadowing and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely a visually very pleasing game. I know that they're doing like various modes on there. I don't know if they've been released yet, but I think there's just like a casual mode where it's not survival and you just get to enjoy the island. So I guess you could chill out on the beach and drink some coconut milk. But anyway, yeah, they're a really nice looking game, so it's definitely worthy of being on this list. Number 3 is Elite Dangerous. It's again a game that can be played in both flat screen and VR. Another space game as well, where you're traveling through space and you can kind of pick your journey, decide how you want to play the game. So you can be like a fighter, or you can go and mine or explore and do different things like that. Again, it was another recommendation by you guys in the comments, so I appreciate all the recommendations there. Thank you. Please do keep them coming. Again, it's very visually pleasing game, which is why it's on this list. So yeah, it's definitely worth having a look at. I did find nothing to do obviously with the topic of this video, but the actual controls on this game are quite difficult, just because there's so many different things you can do when you're flying your spaceship, as you'd imagine in real life. So I guess it's kind of space simulator game, so there's lots of controls to get your head round, and when you're in VR that can be quite difficult if you're using a joystick or keyboard. What I would say though is do stick at it, because once you've learned those controls, it's a really solid game. So it's just something you just got to learn, even if perhaps you start in flat screen mode, get yourself used to all the controls, and then stick the headset on and play it in VR. As you can see, there's some absolutely stunning scenes, especially when you're kind of landing in the different areas and that. Tons to do. I've only just scratched surface with the game. I'm looking forward to playing it some more.
Contact. Notifying ground crew.
The next game on the list is going to be no surprise to anybody. It's Half-Life Alyx. It was released back in 2020, and it still stands the kind of test of time now. It's one of VR's most visually pleasing games out there, and it's also very playable as well. So yeah, it's kind of used as the kind of benchmark for a lot of VR games, and for good reason. I should imagine anyone or most of you who have access to PCVR have played this already, and it's probably the reason a lot of you may have got into PCVR. It definitely was for me, or one of the main reasons is that I'd heard about this game. I really wanted to give it a go. I'd seen some videos and I wasn't disappointed. I played this originally on the Quest 1 and then the Pico 4, well no, Quest 1, Quest 2, Pico 4 and now Quest 3, and each time as you kind of upgrade the hardware, you go to play it and you can see you get that much more kind of visual quality and higher resolution, and you just see the effort that they did put into making this game look as beautiful as it does. So it definitely does deserve a place on this list, and here it is.
Well, Russ, it's official. There is nothing left of your gun in this gun. This is my gun.
All right, fair enough. You earned it. I still want those Russells back, though.
Hubris is the next game on the list, and this is one that got my personal vote for being the most visually pleasing, or one of the games of most pleasing. I do really like the kind of graphic style on this one. I think they've done a really good job, and I don't think it really gets enough credit for it, to be honest. It does look really good in my opinion. I think perhaps the gameplay in areas does lack a little bit, or they could have done a little bit more with some of like the kind of combat style, that type of thing, but actually it's a really good game, and it doesn't get enough of a mention in my personal opinion. There is a standalone version as well, I believe, although this is PCVR that you can see on the screen. Standalone does look very visually pleasing as well, but obviously this is a PCVR review, so hence why we've got the PCVR version. But yeah, definitely worth a mention in my opinion, and it's got my vote.
How about over here? You know how to kill bugs by now, so I'm pretty sure you got this. All right, get ready. Opening the holographic shield in 3, 2, 1. What's that sound? Stand back!
Lone Echo 1 and 2. Now these games, again, they might not need any introduction to you guys. They were developed by Oculus Studios, and I think originally released for the Oculus Rift, or at least the first one was. They're only available via Meta, so you won't find these on the Steam store, I don't believe. So this is like a Meta exclusive. So you need to go to the Meta app and look under the Rift section. But yeah, they're both really good games. Again, they're space kind of theme games. See a bit of a theme to VR games. PCVR, there's a lot of space titles, isn't there? Anyway, so yeah, really solid games. Both really good fun to play with lots of good game mechanics. Really polished off visually as well. So yeah, really can't complain, which is why they're on this list. I think the video is of Lone Echo 1, but Lone Echo 2 is just as good, if not better. So again, our kind of personal favourites here, really wanted to make sure these were mentioned, and they did receive some votes by you guys as well. So yeah, really nice games to play.
Awaiting manual confirmation. Radioactive material jettisoned.
Project Wingman is next on the list. It's a combat style kind of flight sim. It's it's more kind of arcade than simulator, I would say personally, which is why I like it so much. It's one that you can pretty much pick up and play without having to get too confused with all the controls. Visually, it's really nice game, as you can hopefully see on the screen. If it doesn't make you dizzy, me flying around everywhere like this and spinning around. I guess that's one thing for some people who might not have very good VR legs. I guess there's the potential there to get motion sickness. I've not felt it at all in this game. I'm quite lucky. I don't get it very often when I'm playing VR. But yeah, visually it looks really cool, and it plays like a dream. I've got a flight stick, Thrustmaster flight stick, and it works just really well with that. Once you've mapped in the controls, it does take a minute to get the controls mapped. As you can see here, I'm doing a fairly successful landing. I'm on the wonk a little bit, but I do land. But yeah, it's definitely worth playing this one. I really enjoy playing it, and like I say, visually it does look really good, hence being on this list. Stormland is the next one on the list. It's available via the Meta store. It's another Meta/Rift exclusive, so you won't find this on the Steam store. It's probably worth noting it was taken down from the store for quite a while, so I did have quite a few messages when I last posted a video on this game, asking where to get this, as it was taken down, but it is available again now, so it's definitely one to pick up if you're into this type of game. Again, it's a kind of futuristic space style game. Visually very pleasing. You see the outlines around everything. That's when you have like your visor down, and it kind of tells you lots of information about different things you're looking at. It's not always like this. It's only when you choose to have the visor down. But yeah, it is very visually pleasing. It's got some really fun game mechanics. Definitely one to play, and a personal recommendation from me.
Those devices are, we'd better intercept them before the Tempest get to them.
The next one on the list is not for one particular game, but it's actually for a mod pack called the UEVR Prey Dog mod. This is a very special kind of mod pack that allows you to play a lot of games that are made in Unreal Engine 4 or 5. It allows you to play them in VR. I can't pretend to know exactly how it works, but basically you open up the UEVR Praydog mod and then you inject the game, and then it allows you to play in VR. There's lots of extra settings you can do to make them use the motion controllers, 6 degrees of motion, and you can also do like first person mode. The game I'm playing at the moment is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, but there's lots of games that are compatible, various degrees of compatibility. You've got things like Hogwarts Legacy, Stray, lots of really kind of well-known titles out there that you can then play in VR using this mod. You need quite a powerful PC to run it though, because it's quite taxing on the GPU and CPU, but if you've got the ability to run it, then please do try it. It's really worth a go. Graphically it looks amazing.
Careful over there. That doesn't look safe. Just like back at the scrapyard.
Last game on the list now is called Wanderer. Now there is a sequel or a remake just around the corner for this game, so it's going to be due out anytime soon, but I still wanted to add it to the list. It was voted by a few of you guys and I'm glad, because I actually quite like it myself. Graphically, I think it does look quite good as well. It's a kind of puzzle style game where you've got to try and work out different things in order to move on to the next area. I do really like it. There's some really fun features with this game. I don't really like the way it highlights things. As you can see on the screen, it highlights them in yellow. I think that kind of spoils the immersiveness a bit. But either way, overall, I do really like the graphic style of this game, and I'm glad it's on this list.
Is that some sort of pattern? They can't just go in willy-nilly. Looks like you've connected up this contraption.
Okay, that's the end of the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. That's the top 10 most visually pleasing games voted by you guys, the viewers. Now, I just want to say a quick note that obviously we probably already know this, but just because a game is visually pleasing, it doesn't necessarily make it the most playable game, and vice versa. Some of the best games that I've played aren't the most visually pleasing. I did want to do a video just to show off like some of the best graphics available in VR at the moment, some of the kind of wow factor ones, but I just wanted to kind of point out that that doesn't mean that they're all the most playable ones, although most of them on the list I do quite like myself. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. If you haven't already checked out the other video on the channel that goes alongside this one, then please do check it out. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, then please do hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.